Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive.
Yeah,
You guys know the drill by now.
we do.
We asked for it, you sent it.
You did.
You guys sent in a ton about Europe, about travel to Europe.
Yeah, it's a popular topic.
It is, and we've got an article here, which European country should you visit?
True.
From MSN.
Okay.
And it's from, I believe his name is Jack.
Yeah.
But anyway, it features 15 different countries.
Okay.
And it's a lot.
To cover, yeah.
It is a lot to cover. And it just from like skimming through it, there's Lego houses,
Oh, fine.
fairy tale palaces, a Game of Thrones connection.
Oh, okay.
So how do we even like approach this?
Yeah, so I think the best way to break it down is we've got 15 different countries, which can be overwhelming. So I kind of broke it down into these travel tribes, so to speak,
Okay.
based on what the article emphasizes.
Okay, like what kind of tribes?
So first we've got the history buffs.
Okay.
So that includes places like Greece, Italy, France, Spain, Belgium, Croatia, thinking ancient ruins, iconic landmarks,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing, that history whispering to you.
Like when you're in Rome and you can almost hear the gladiators.
Exactly, yeah. And speaking of Rome, that's actually one of the places that the article calls out in Italy specifically.
What does it say?
So it mentions iconic landmarks, of course, like the Colosseum, the Trevi Fountain.
Mm-hmm.
But then it also mentions Pompeii, which is talk about history coming to life.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yeah,
So what about if you're not really a history buff?
yeah.
What if I'm more like a city person?
Yeah, so then you would be what I call the city breaker.
Okay.
And so that includes places like we've got Copenhagen, Amsterdam, Lisbon, and even Reykjavik.
Wait, Iceland?
Yeah. So Iceland kind of falls in two categories here.
Okay.
But yeah, so it talks about how Reykjavik has a thriving food scene, lively nightlife.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the other category that Iceland falls into?
So that would be what I like to call the outdoor adventurers. So that includes places like we've got Italy in there, we've got France, Croatia, the Netherlands, Portugal, Norway,
Okay.
Iceland, Wales, England, Germany, Austria.
So there's a little overlap between categories.
Exactly.
I mean, can you be like a history buff and an outdoor adventurer?
I think you could be a combination.
Yeah.
It really is up to the person and the type of traveler they are.
Okay.
But, to kind of give you a little bit better idea of what we're talking about, why don't we dive into some standout countries that maybe had some of those captivating attractions that you mentioned?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so, starting off, we talked about Italy.
Yeah.
How about Greece?
Okay, yeah.
So in Greece, it takes us straight to Athens,
Mm-hmm.
talking about, you're stepping back in time, you're surrounded by these remnants of ancient temples, the Parthenon.
Yeah.
But it also emphasizes that it's a modern, vibrant city.
So you get the best of both worlds.
Exactly, yeah. How about Spain?
Spain, paella, and
Oh, and the Alhambra? So yeah, it mentions the Alhambra in Granada as a must-see.
ooh, yeah.
And, it's a stunning example of Islamic architecture in Europe.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's history.
Yeah.
What about city people, city breakers?
Yeah. So it talks about Copenhagen. It says it truly has it all.
Okay.
From the meatpacking district, which is apparently really trendy now, and it's a nightlife hub, all the way to Refn, which is a street food haven.
Wow. Okay.
And then if you're looking for something truly unique, it mentions Freetown Christiania, which is this self-governing community within the city,
Okay.
and that it's, known for its alternative lifestyle and relaxed atmosphere. But it does have a controversial history.
Right.
So maybe not for everyone,
Right.
but if you're looking for something really unique,
Yeah.
it'd be a cool experience.
Okay.
Yeah. And before we move on to the outdoor adventurers,
Yeah.
what about those Lego houses you mentioned?
Yes.
Where can I find those?
Where are they?
So that would be in Billund, Denmark. It's home to Legoland and the Lego House.
I mean, I'd want to go.
Right.
Oh.
It recommends it as a must-visit for families, but I think anyone who's a fan of Lego would really enjoy it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the outdoor adventures.
Yes.
Iceland.
Got
What's
it.
the big highlight?
So it talks about driving the Ring Road, which is a scenic route that circles the entire island.
Wow. Okay.
Think witnessing geysers erupting from the earth, glaciers shimmering,
Yeah.
hot springs.
That's so cool.
Yeah, just really emphasizing that natural beauty of Iceland.
Okay, what about those fairy tale palaces?
So those would be in Portugal,
Okay.
specifically in the town of Sintra,
Okay.
and it highlights Pena National Palace, which is just this, eclectic mix of architectural styles, vibrant colors.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
So, like, Europe has it all.
It really seems that way. From history, city life to nature.
Yeah.
What kind of traveler are you?
That's a great question.
Yeah, what are you looking for?
What kind of traveler are you guys?
What excites you about a destination?
What are you looking for when you travel?
Yeah.
Because that's going to kind of determine what the best fit is for you.
Exactly.
So think about that as we keep going.
Yeah, as we continue our journey.
Yeah.
How about we move on to a country that kind of blends all of those together, a little bit of history, a little bit of city life, and some outdoor adventures as well.
Oh, okay. Which one?
Croatia.
Croatia. Isn't that where they filmed Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it.
So it specifically mentions Dubrovnik as a draw for Game of Thrones fans.
Okay.
But also, beyond that, we've got Zagreb, which is the capital known for its architecture. And then, of course, you can't forget the Dalmatian coast, which is that string of islands and coastal towns.
So pretty.
Yeah. So, one day you could be exploring historical sites, and then the next day you could be just relaxing on a beach.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah. How about we move on to the Netherlands?
Okay.
A country known for its canals, windmills.
Yeah, Amsterdam.
Yes.
Tulips, bicycles.
Yes. So it highlights the canals, of course, but also the Anne Frank House and the Rijksmuseum.
Oh.
But then, if you're looking to connect with nature, it recommends the Hoogovelu National Park, which has hiking, cycling.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then for something a little bit more romantic, it mentions the university town of Leiden.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a little something for everyone.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool, cool.
So we touched on Portugal a little bit already with the fairy tale landscapes, but it also has 2 cities it calls out for a city break,
Oh, okay.
both Porto and Lisbon.
Okay. Yeah.
And it talks about, strolling through the narrow cobblestone streets,
Yeah.
sampling delicious Portuguese cuisine,
Yeah.
just taking in the atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
Right. But before we get lost in all these, daydreams,
Yeah.
let's address our listener again.
Yes. Let's.
We're throwing a lot of information at you, but we want to make sure that this is helpful for your trip planning.
Yeah.
So, what's grabbing your attention so far?
Yeah, what's standing out to you?
What are your preferences?
Yeah, don't be shy. Tell us.
Yeah. We want to know.
Because it is about finding what resonates with you.
Exactly.
What are you actually looking for?
Yeah. What kind of experience will create those lasting memories for you?
So keep that in mind as we continue.
Yeah. As we move on, why don't we go to Iceland?
Okay, back to Iceland.
Yeah. The land of, glaciers, geysers.
It's on everybody's list.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for good reason. So, beyond Reykjavik, it really emphasizes those unique geological features of Iceland.
Yeah.
Like seeing geysers erupt, glaciers, hot springs.
That gotta be so cool to see in person.
It really does, yeah.
Yeah.
But then it also talks about Reykjavik
Yeah.
and how it's small but packed with personality.
Okay.
Think colorful buildings, the thriving culinary scene, lively nightlife.
Interesting.
You could even sample traditional Icelandic cuisine there.
Oh, okay.
So it seems like a good place to base yourself
Yeah.
if you're going to explore the rest of Iceland.
Okay.
And it recommends places like Thingvellir National Park,
Okay.
where you can walk between, the tectonic plates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Gullfoss, which is a powerful waterfall, and Jökulsárlón, which is a glacial lagoon.
Okay.
And then, of course, it mentions driving the ring road again, just really emphasizing that experience.
Yeah, that's cool.
Seeing all these different landscapes.
Yeah.
So how about we hop across the water to another island nation,
Okay.
one that's a bit closer to home
Okay.
and often gets overlooked, which is Wales.
Oh, Wales.
Yeah, a land of, rugged mountains, dramatic coastlines, and charming towns and villages. It often gets overshadowed by its neighbor, England.
Yeah, for sure.
But it really emphasizes that it's a wealth of experiences for those looking for a different kind of European adventure.
Okay, like what kind of adventures?
So, for starters, we have Snowdonia National Park,
Okay.
which is home to the highest mountain in Wales, Mount Snowdon.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a hiker's paradise.
Yeah.
But then, beyond just the nature,
Yeah.
it also has, ancient castles
Oh, yeah.
like Caernarfon, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, what about England?
Oh, England. The land of, iconic landmarks,
Yeah.
bustling cities,
Yeah.
and picturesque countryside. It really emphasizes the diversity of experiences available.
Like what?
So, you could explore a bustling city like London,
Yeah.
Manchester, Liverpool,
Okay.
or you could venture out to the scenic Lake District National Park.
Yeah.
So if you want to experience the heart of England, it mentions London, of course,
Okay.
but with its iconic landmarks. But then it also says, venture beyond the tourist trail.
Okay.
Explore places like Shoreditch, known for its street art and trendy cafes,
Mm-hmm.
or Camden Town with its eclectic markets.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's really about finding those hidden gems.
Right.
What about if you want to experience England's musical heritage?
Yeah, where would you go?
So it mentions both Manchester and Liverpool.
Okay.
Manchester has got that industrial heritage, thriving music scene. And then, of course, you've got Liverpool, the birthplace of the Beatles.
Yeah.
So it's a city steeped in musical history.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then for a more tranquil escape,
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned the Lake District National Park.
Yeah.
It's just this area of stunning natural beauty.
Yeah.
Rolling hills, sparkling lakes.
Cool.
It's a haven for hikers, cyclists, nature lovers.
Yum's nice.
Yeah. So once again, we're throwing a lot at you.
Yeah.
What's resonating with you so far?
Yeah.
What's piquing your interest?
What are you thinking?
What are you leaning toward? Because,
Yeah.
ultimately, we want this to be helpful for you.
It's your trip.
It is. Yeah.
So tell us.
So how about we shift our focus to Germany?
Germany. Okay. Castles and beer gardens.
Yes. And the Berlin Wall.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It mentions Berlin
Mhm.
with all its iconic landmarks.
Yeah.
But then, if you're looking for more fairy tale charm,
Oh, where do I go?
it recommends Neuschwanstein Castle,
Okay.
which is that stunning 19th century palace in
Oh.
Bavaria.
Okay.
And it's said to have inspired Walt Disney's Sleeping Beauty Castle.
Oh, wow.
So, if you want to feel like you're in a fairy tale,
Yeah.
that seems like the place to go.
Okay, cool.
But if you're more interested in, local culture and traditions,
Yeah.
it suggests Munich,
Okay.
capital of Bavaria, known for its Oktoberfest celebrations,
Yeah.
the traditional beer gardens.
Mm-hmm.
You can sample local specialties there like bratwurst,
Yeah.
pretzels,
Yeah.
and, of course, you have to have a stein of beer in a traditional beer garden.
Of course.
And then, for the outdoor enthusiasts,
Yeah.
it mentions the Bavarian Alps
Okay.
as a must visit
Mm-hmm.
for breathtaking mountain scenery.
Cool.
You can hike, you
Yeah.
can climb,
Climb. Yeah.
you can just take in the views from a cable car.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for a different kind of natural experience,
Okay.
it mentions the Black Forest,
Oh, yeah.
which is that densely wooded region in southwestern Germany.
Mm-hmm.
It's got those fairy tale-like forests,
Cool.
charming villages.
Yeah, Germany's cool.
It is. And just south of Germany, we find another country that's renowned for its, stunning scenery, its rich musical heritage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Austria.
Austria,
Yes.
Vienna, and Mozart.
Yes. And, The Sound of Music.
Oh, yeah.
So while The Sound of Music was primarily filmed in Salzburg, Vienna, Austria's capital,
Yeah.
is really a city that exudes this elegance and charm.
And, it talks about Vienna's rich musical heritage, the connections to Mozart, Beethoven,
Yeah.
Strauss. You can visit the Vienna State Opera,
Mm-hmm.
attend a classical music concert, just stroll through those grand avenues.
Cool.
And, for those who are more interested in the imperial history,
Mm-hmm.
it recommends a visit to Schönbrunn Palace,
Oh, okay.
which is the former summer residence
Yeah.
of the Habsburg Emperor.
It is.
And it's got opulent rooms, stunning gardens, and even a zoo.
Whoa. Okay.
So there you go. Something for everyone.
There. And then for the natural beauty.
Yeah, it points to the Austrian Alps again, just,
Yeah.
towering peaks, sparkling lakes. You can go skiing, snowboarding,
Yeah.
hiking.
Yeah.
Just, relax and enjoy those breathtaking views.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that's quite a lot of information.
That is a lot.
We've covered a lot of ground here in this first part of our deep dive,
It's true.
exploring these 15 different European countries.
It's like we took a whirlwind tour.
We did.
Yeah.
We went from those sunny beaches of the Mediterranean all the way up to those snow-capped peaks of the Alps.
Yeah.
But don't worry,
Yeah.
we're just getting started.
Okay.
So in the next part of our deep dive, we're actually going to zoom in on some specific attractions and activities within these countries to help you further refine your travel plans
Cool.
and create an itinerary
Right.
that's truly tailored to your interests.
That's good.
Yeah. Welcome back to our European adventure. I hope you've all had a chance to kind of digest all those amazing destinations we talked about.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in,
It is.
but it's exciting.
It is. It is. So in this part, we're going to kind of zoom in a little bit more, get a little more specific
Okay.
on some of those attractions and activities within these countries.
Yeah.
We've kind of covered the big picture.
Yeah.
So now we're going to talk about those must-experience moments,
Yeah.
the ones that will make your trip unforgettable.
I'm all about that.
Yeah. So you mentioned feeling that history buff energy.
I did.
How about we revisit Greece?
Okay.
We talked about Athens.
Yeah.
But let's delve a little deeper.
Great, let's do it. I'm ready to channel my inner archaeologist.
Yes.
Uncover those hidden historical gems.
Okay, so you can't talk about Athens without mentioning the Acropolis,
Of course.
that iconic Parthenon.
Yeah.
But it's not just about, seeing these structures,
That's right.
understanding their historical significance.
Yeah.
The Acropolis was a symbol of Athenian power and democracy.
Right.
Their achievements in art and architecture and philosophy. So it's really like,
Wow. Yeah. So it's like more than just a tourist attraction. It's a symbol
Exactly.
of their civilization.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, beyond the Acropolis, you can explore the Agora, which was the ancient marketplace.
Okay.
That's where the foundations of democracy were laid.
Wow.
Or wander through the Plaka district with its charming shops and cafes.
Oh.
And then, if you really want to immerse yourself in Athenian history, a visit to the Acropolis Museum is a must.
Okay. Yeah. I've heard of that.
Yeah, so this modern architectural marvel houses artifacts from the Acropolis itself, so it gives you a little bit more context and understanding to what you've seen on the hilltop.
So it all ties together.
Exactly.
That's cool. Okay. So we time traveled through ancient Greece.
We did.
What about Italy?
Italy. It's basically an open-air museum.
Yeah.
There's layers of history everywhere.
Sure.
We talked about Rome,
Yeah.
but let's venture beyond the capital and go to Florence.
Okay. Florence. Isn't that where, like, the Renaissance?
The birthplace of the Renaissance?
Yeah. The Medici family and all.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, so what does it say about Florence?
So it mentions, of course, iconic landmarks like the Ponte Vecchio,
Okay.
which was the only bridge that wasn't destroyed during World War II.
Wow.
And then the Duomo, that magnificent dome designed by Brunelleschi.
Yeah.
But what's really special about Florence is that, there's just a sheer concentration of Renaissance art and architecture.
Right, yeah.
So you can visit the Uffizi Gallery,
Okay.
which is home to masterpieces
Okay.
by Botticelli, Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's really like stepping into a Renaissance painting.
Yeah, cool. Okay, but like, I get it. Not everyone's a huge art buff.
Yeah.
What about if you want to do something a little more adventurous? Like, what about Pompeii?
Oh, Pompeii.
Yeah.
A Roman city frozen in time.
Right. Yeah. Right.
By the eruption of Mount Vesuvius back in 79 AD.
It's wild.
Yeah, so it's not just about, seeing the ruins, but it's about experiencing this snapshot of Roman life almost 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
You walk through the streets, you see the remains of the houses, shops,
Wow.
public buildings, and even plaster casts of the victims.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a little eerie, but really fascinating.
It is. It is. Okay, so we've done history.
Yeah.
I'm feeling those city breaker vibes. Where should we go?
How about Amsterdam?
Oh, Amsterdam. Yes.
Canals, bicycles.
Yeah, the red light district.
Yes. It's a city that embraces its contradictions.
Totally.
So for first-time visitors, it highlights the canals, of course. The heart and soul of the city.
Yeah.
Imagine cruising along the waterways lined with these picturesque houses, charming bridges.
Yeah.
You can hop on a canal boat tour or even rent your own boat
Oh, that's fun.
and explore at your own pace.
Yeah, that's nice.
But, beyond the canals,
Yeah.
Amsterdam has a rich history and a vibrant art scene.
Okay.
You can visit the Anne Frank House.
Yeah.
You can explore the Rijksmuseum.
Okay.
And then for a taste of Amsterdam's more eclectic side, you have to visit the Jordan District.
Okay.
This charming neighborhood is full of, narrow streets, quaint houses, independent shops,
Cool.
cozy cafes. It's just got a really unique atmosphere.
So there's a little something for everyone there, too.
There is.
Cool. Okay, from city life to outdoor adventures.
Yeah.
Norway.
Norway. The land of fjords, mountains, and charming coastal towns.
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit before, but let's dive a little deeper.
All right, let's do it.
So, the fjords are really one of Norway's most iconic features.
Yeah, they look unreal.
They do.
Like, when you see pictures,
Yeah.
it's hard to believe those places actually exist.
They really are breathtaking.
Yeah.
So, if you want to experience the fjords firsthand,
Yeah.
you can take a scenic cruise,
Go.
which allows you to kind of admire those towering cliffs and waterfalls.
Yeah.
But if you're feeling more adventurous,
Oh, yeah.
you can kayak through the fjords.
That sounds amazing.
It does. And then, if you want to get a little more immersive experience,
Oh, okay.
it suggests staying in one of the charming fishing villages along the fjords.
Okay, yeah.
Experience the local way of life, soak up that tranquil atmosphere.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, it does. But, beyond the fjords,
Yeah.
Norway also has this stunning coastline
Okay.
with thousands of islands.
Wow.
So it highlights the Lofoten Islands,
Okay.
which is an archipelago in northern Norway.
Yeah.
And it's a must-visit for those seeking rugged beauty and unparalleled hiking opportunities.
Those are the ones I remember seeing pictures.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
Imagine those towering mountains
Yeah.
rising out of the sea,
Yeah.
colorful fishing villages,
Yeah.
crystal clear waters.
It's so cool.
It really is. And you can hike along those trails,
Yeah.
explore those villages, maybe even do some sea kayaking or fishing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Norway.
That's Norway. How about we head south to a land of, sunny beaches, vibrant culture,
Okay.
delicious cuisine, Spain,
Spain. Yeah, I mean, like
flamenco dancing.
paella, the beaches.
Yes, exactly. We talked about Barcelona and Madrid.
Yeah.
But let's go beyond those and explore some of Spain's lesser-known treasures.
Okay, what do we got? So how about we journey to Andalusia,
Okay.
this region in southern Spain that's known for its Moorish influence.
Yeah, yeah.
Those charming whitewashed villages and the vibrant flamenco culture.
Yeah, I've always been intrigued by that region.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, one of the highlights is the Alhambra.
Yeah.
We mentioned it before, but it's worth repeating, just how stunning this Moorish palace is.
Right.
Imagine strolling through the courtyards, admiring the tile work,
Yeah.
feeling transported back to Spain's Moorish past.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Okay, that's awesome. What about beaches?
Beaches.
Yeah, like what does Andalusia have?
So Andalusia has over 500 miles of coastline
What?
with beaches to suit every taste.
Okay.
You can relax on the Costa del Sol,
Yeah.
explore those hidden coves of the Costa de la Luz,
Okay.
or go surfing on the Costa de Almeria.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So how about we hop over to another country that's known for its, rich history, its charming towns,
Okay.
its delicious cuisine. Portugal.
Portugal. Yes. I feel like that gets overlooked a lot,
It does, yeah.
but it's so cool.
It is. So we talked about Lisbon and Porto,
Yeah.
but let's delve a little deeper into what makes Portugal special.
All right. I'm ready.
So how about we start with Sintra,
Okay. Yeah, Sintra.
just outside of Lisbon,
Hmm.
known for its fairy tale palaces and gardens.
Yeah, yeah.
We mentioned Pina National Palace,
Yeah.
but it's also home to other enchanting palaces,
Okay.
like the Quinta da Regalera, which has those mysterious wells and underground tunnels.
That's so...
It is. But, for those who are more interested in that coastal beauty,
Yeah.
Portugal has a stunning coastline, with beaches to suit every taste.
Okay, yeah.
You can relax on the golden sands of the Algarve, explore the cliffs of the Alentejo coast, go surfing on the Silver Coast.
Okay, so many beaches to choose from.
It's incredibly right.
It is. Okay, so we've covered a lot
We have.
in this part 2 of
Yeah.
our deep dive, exploring these must-see attractions
Yeah.
in all these different countries.
Yes.
But it's important to remember, these are just suggestions.
Exactly.
This is a starting point
Yeah.
for your own exploration.
Exactly. The beauty of travel is that it's a personal journey.
Totally.
And the best itinerary
Yeah,
is the one that's tailored to your interests and desires.
exactly. So as we move into the final part,
Yes.
take a moment to reflect.
Yes.
What's resonating with you the most?
What places have captured your imagination?
What are you feeling? What experiences are you craving?
Yes. What adventures are you ready to embark on?
Because in this next part,
Yes.
we're going to explore even more destinations and activities,
Yes, we are.
uncovering those hidden gems that will make your European trip truly unforgettable.
So stay tuned. Our European adventure continues.
All right, fellow adventurers, we're back for the final part of our European exploration. Are you ready to uncover even more hidden gems and must-do experiences?
I'm excited to dive back in. We've covered a lot of ground already, but believe it or not, there's still so much more to explore.
I know, right? It's incredible how much Europe has to offer. So where are we heading next? What hidden treasures are you ready to reveal?
Let's revisit the United Kingdom, but this time we'll skip the bustling streets of London and head to Wales.
Wales. I always think of rolling green hills, dramatic coastlines, and of course those charming Welsh accents. What makes Wales stand out as a travel destination?
Well, for starters, Wales is a land steeped in history and legend. Imagine exploring ancient castles perched on hilltops, like Carnarvon Castle, a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Okay, you had me at castles. I'm already picturing myself exploring those ancient ruins, imagining the stories those walls could tell.
Right. Those castles aren't just picturesque ruins. They're testaments to Wales' rich and often turbulent past.
That's what makes exploring historical sites so fascinating. You can practically feel the weight of history all around you. But what about beyond the castles? What else does Wales have to offer?
Well, it offers a really unique cultural experience, distinct from England. You can delve into the country's Celtic heritage at the National Museum Cardiff, or explore the vibrant art scene in Swansea.
It's amazing how much diversity Europe offers, even within a relatively small area like the UK.
Absolutely. And speaking of diversity, let's hop across the English Channel to a country that's often overlooked, but offers a delightful mix of old-world charm and modern sophistication.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Where are we headed?
Belgium.
Belgium.
Yeah.
I always think of chocolate, waffles, and those adorable gnome statues.
Uh-huh. Yes, those are definitely some of Belgium's claims to fame. But there's much more to Belgium than just those sweet treats.
Okay, I'm ready to hear about it. Convince me that Belgium deserves a spot on my travel bucket list.
Well, how about we start with Bruges? It's often described as a medieval fairy tale come to life.
Ooh, I love those kinds of descriptions. Tell me more.
Imagine cobblestone streets, canals, picturesque houses. It's like stepping back in time. You can take a boat tour, visit the Market, the main square, climb the Belfry Tower for panoramic views.
Sounds idyllic. And of course, no trip to Belgium would be complete without indulging in some of those famous Belgian waffles.
Exactly. Topped with all the goodies. Fresh fruit, whipped cream, Belgian chocolate.
Okay, I'm sold. Bruges is officially on my list. But what about for those who are less interested in fairy tale charm and more drawn to history and art? What does Belgium have to offer them?
For that, we head to Ghent. It's a city in the Flanders region, renowned for its medieval architecture, the Gravenstein Castle, and a vibrant art scene.
I'm sensing a theme here. Lots of medieval charm in Belgium. What are some of the must-sees in Ghent?
Well, there's St. Bavo Cathedral, home to the famous Ghent altarpiece, and the Design Museum Gent for those interested in design and innovation. And for a taste of local life, the Paterschool, Ghent's oldest district, is a must.
It sounds like Ghent offers the perfect blend of history, art, and culture. I'm loving these Belgian discoveries. What's next? Where are we off to now?
How about we journey eastward to Germany?
Germany. We've already talked about Berlin and Munich, but I'm always up for exploring more of Germany. What hidden gems are you ready to reveal?
How about the Romantic Road? It's a scenic route that winds through Bavaria. Imagine medieval towns, rolling hills, castles perched on hilltops.
I'm getting those fairy tale vibes again. I'm loving it. What are some of the can't-miss stops along the Romantic Road?
Well, there's Rothenburg ob der Tauber, a perfectly preserved medieval town. It's like stepping back in time. And no journey along the Romantic Road would be complete without a visit to Neuschwanstein Castle. It was the inspiration for Disney's Sleeping Beauty Castle.
Okay, I need to see this castle in person. It sounds magical. But what about for those who are more interested in Germany's urban side? Any recommendations beyond Berlin and Munich?
For those seeking a vibrant city experience, Hamburg is a fantastic choice.
Hamburg. Tell me more. What makes Hamburg special?
It's a port city with a rich maritime history. You can explore the Speicherstadt district, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, or visit the Miniature Wonderland, a miniature world that's a marvel of engineering.
A miniature world. Okay, I'm intrigued. That sounds like a fun and unique experience. What else is there to see and do in Hamburg?
For a taste of Hamburg's maritime heritage, take a stroll along the Elbe River. You can admire the city skyline and watch ships from all over the world.
It sounds like Hamburg offers a little something for everyone. I'm adding it to my list. So what's next on our European adventure?
Let's head south to Austria.
Austria. We've already talked about Vienna, but I'm eager to hear about other Austrian destinations. What hidden gems are you ready to share?
Well, how about Salzburg? It's a city that's synonymous with music, especially Mozart, and fairy tale charm.
Salzburg. I have always wanted to visit Salzburg. What are some of the must-do activities in Salzburg?
You can visit Mozart's birthplace, explore the Salzburg Museum, or attend a performance at the Salzburg Festival, one of the world's most prestigious classical music festivals. And for that fairy tale charm, wander through Salzburg's Old Town. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site with stunning Baroque architecture.
Salzburg sounds absolutely magical. I'm definitely adding it to my list. But what about for those who are more drawn to Austria's natural beauty? Any recommendations?
Well, you can't go wrong with the Austrian Alps. They are a paradise for outdoor enthusiasts. Hiking, skiing, snowboarding, or simply relaxing and taking in those breathtaking views.
It sounds like the perfect blend of nature, culture, and adventure. Austria is definitely calling my name. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. From ancient ruins and fairy tale castles to bustling cities and breathtaking natural landscapes, Europe truly has something to offer every type of traveler.
It really does. And we've just scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore and discover in this incredible continent.
Exactly. So, dear listeners, we encourage you to use this deep dive as a starting point for your own European adventures. What sparked your interest? Where do you want to go? What experiences are you longing for?
Do your research, follow your curiosity, and most importantly, don't be afraid to venture off the beaten path. You never know what amazing discoveries await you.
Happy travels, everyone!